The following conversations are taken from our channel membership exclusive weekly live show that we do on Saturdays from 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time called Members Talk Live. Find out how you can become a member and appear on the show. All of the information is down in the description below, as well as all of the links to the channels of today's guests. Check them out, and I hope to talk with you very soon. Today, we have once again a slew of topics to talk about this week. I mean, the actor strike ended. So once the actor strike ended, I feel like we just got a bunch of news coming out, which was awesome. So we've got a little bit of a disappointing news with Wile E. Coyote's live action mix of live action and animation movie getting canceled by Warner Brothers after being completely finished. We'll talk about that. We've got a Legend of Zelda movie announced. I don't know anything about Legends of Zelda, but we've got some members who do. We're going to talk about that Inside Out 2 and Ghostbusters trailer, and we're also going to talk about how Deadpool 3 is the only MCU movie releasing in 2024. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? We'll talk about it all. I've got a very special member joining us today. It's going to be the Zach and Frank show from the looks of it. If anyone else joins, we'll see. But right now, Optimistic Forever's Frank is here to talk about this stuff with me. What's going on, man?
The Zach and Frank show.
The Zach and Frank show.
That's great. And for those who are watching, please ignore the t-shirt. This was a poor choice on my end. I am going to be 100% honest with all that we're going to be talking about.
Next sarcastic comment in 3, 2, 1. I love it. With that, guys, let's just start with our first topic, and we're coming in hot and spicy with this one today, guys, because this completely blew up Twitter a couple days ago. Which is I posted this ironically. This movie was not on my radar. Like I think I'd heard about it a little bit ago, but I haven't been thinking about it constantly. This new Wile E. Coyote versus Acme movie. Ironically, though, they've decided that they've just canned it. They've canceled it, not coming out. They want a tax write-off. And ironically, now I actually really want to see this movie. It was not on my radar before, but it's gotten the public reception coming out. It's got the word of mouth coming out already. And now I really want to see this movie, and we never will. Here's what the story is coming from in Variety. They say, another Warner Brothers movie bites the dust. The studio no longer plans to release Coyote vs. Acme, a live-action animation hybrid starring John Cena, which completed filming in 2022. A similar situation transpired a little over a year ago as Warner Brothers shocked the entertainment industry by shelving a $90 million budget DC adventure Batgirl and the kid-friendly Scooby-Doo Holiday Haunt as a tax write-off. Now, there is some differences between the Batgirl and this Looney Tunes movie getting canceled that we'll talk about in a little bit. Those films, this goes on with Variety, those films, as well as the 30 million Coyote versus Acme, were greenlit by the former regime led by Jason Kilar and intended for release on HBO Max. His successor, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav, has shifted the studio's priorities back to theatrical and felt this movie did not fit with the new creative direction of the company. The decision also comes after Bill Damaski took over Warner Brothers Animation Group earlier this year. With the relaunch of Warner Brothers Pictures Animation in June, the studio has shifted its global strategy to focus on theatrical releases, a Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group spokesperson said in a statement. With this new direction, we have made the difficult decision not to move forward with Coyote vs. Acme. We have tremendous respect for filmmakers, cast, and crew, and are grateful for the contributions to the film. All right, so couple thoughts on this. Because this is kind of okay, as a fan, this is pretty outrageous, I think. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like this was my most anticipated movie of 2024 and now it's not coming out. Like I said before, this was not on my radar. I did not know this movie was even coming out. So I'm not gonna act like they've taken something away from me personally. But I did see a lot of fans who backlashed on this. So from the studio's perspective, I this is their movie. Like, the filmmakers came on to make this movie, but the studio owns this movie. They can essentially do whatever they want with it. So fine, the studios can do whatever they want with it. I still think that this is a very, very, very stupid decision. And I'll tell you why this is a very stupid decision. And why this is also different from the Batgirl situation. Because with the Batgirl situation, Batgirl was a movie that was for HBO Max, made specifically for HBO Max. They had things that connected to the DCU that they're no longer doing. Michael Keaton's Batman, they have no interest in continuing with that. He was going to be in Batgirl. They looked at the footage. It was not complete. That's another thing too. Batgirl was not complete. Batgirl was still being worked on. They looked at the footage that they had. They thought, this is not going to go to HBO Max. We're not going to put this in theaters. It's not good enough. This is just going to hurt our brand. So we canceled it. As much as that sucks, as much as that makes me really curious to see Batgirl, I can understand that decision a lot more than this decision, because this was a completed movie. This movie was done. There's footage that has been leaked of the completed product of images from the movie, and it actually looks kind of fun. Another big difference with this is that when Batgirl got canceled, people instantly came out and said, yeah, we saw this. It was not good. Like, trust us, guys. This was a terrible film. The opposite is happening with this movie. Some of the reactions from people who claim to have seen the film have come out, and they are actually raving about it. We got Ben David here saying Coyote versus Acme is a great movie, the best of its kind since Roger Rabbit. It's commercial, it tested well, the leads are super likable, it's beautifully shot, the animation's great, the ending makes everyone effing cry. I thought the goal of this business was to make hit movies. Another insider who claims to have seen the film, Brian Duffield, says, I have seen this movie and it's excellent. It also tested in the high 90s repeatedly. It also had interested buyers. The people working at Warner Brothers are anti-art, and I hope multiple anvils drop on their heads. So those are two very big differences between the Batgirl situation and this one as well. And there's also another big difference with this that was not in the variety articles and a couple other articles going around. This had potential buyers. This movie cost $70 million to make. David Zaslav doesn't believe that if they put it in theaters that they could make their money back on a $70 million budget. I think that's bullcrap. I totally think that it could, especially if it had the word of mouth. And it's got the 4 quadrants. It's got the family. It's got the grandparents. It's got the young kids. It's got the parents. Like this movie, I think, actually could have been very successful, especially if it's as good as these critics are saying that it was. And also, they had potential buyers. People wanted to buy this from Warner Brothers. They wanted to put this on Amazon. They wanted to put this on Netflix. This had a place that it could have gone. Instead, they decided that they were just going to get a tax write-off for $30 million. Now, Frank, I've just gone on this big old spew of what I think about this. I think this is a stupid decision. I don't understand it. This just feels greedy. This feels the most greedy I've ever seen a CEO really feel. What do you think about this? Were you looking forward to this movie? Was this on your radar? Do you love Looney Tunes? What's your thoughts, man, on this?
I'll be honest, I was on the same boat as you were. I was not aware that this was even going to happen, and much less that it, finish its production from what it says in the article.
Yeah, it said it was completely done. And it's also got a bunch of people that work at Warner Brothers attached to it. James Gunn was a producer. John Cena was in it. And from the looks of it on Twitter, apparently this completely blindsided the director, because he put out this tweet about how he was just completely devastated to hear this news. It's not good.
It's just it's a big time wasting just announcing that, okay, we're gonna scrape this off. Just because of thoughts or anticipated thoughts, and it almost makes it look like, okay, Warner Brothers is just doesn't know how to make up their mind. That's how it looks like. Mm-hmm. So for me, and I grew up with those cartoons before they were all moved to Boomerang. Like every single evening, whenever during prime time, they would feature this on Cartoon Network. And I remember Saturdays was called Acme Hour, and that was always my favorite time. Like all the shenanigans that happened with the cartoon character Bugs Bunny, Daffy, like all those, I lived it, and I enjoyed my afternoon snack just watching him. I would have loved to have seen this, because just to bring back that goofiness to animation, especially for old time's sake, wackiness that I grew up watching. So it sucks that this is no longer in the works. So
yeah, and like I said, I don't want to sit here and be a hypocrite. Honestly, this news is going to bug me today. I'm going to forget about it tomorrow. I wasn't really anticipating this movie, like I mentioned before. Now that I've seen images and heard what it was about, I kind of do want to see it, but that's just not going to happen. But one thing too, there's two things that I think this also does to Warner Brothers is Looney Tunes is one of their core prized like they've been around for decades for the studio. And do you think that this like hurts Looney Tunes going forward? Like, do you think that they prioritize Looney Tunes going forward after this cancellation? Because it's been a little bit. I mean, we had Space Jam 2, which, by the way, if you can release Space Jam 2, you can release this movie. I guarantee
Exactly.
you that if you release
I was
Space
thinking
Jam 2,
about
you
that
can
too.
put this movie. Now, once
Mhm.
again, it's the old regime. I understand that, but also, what do you think this does for filmmakers? Because I've seen this going around Twitter as well. What do you think this does for filmmakers who want to work with Warner Brothers? Do you think that this is going to discourage and kind of make them think twice about working with this company? Because one thing is, if you do it with Batgirl, okay, that's a one-time thing. You get a tax write-off. We kind of understand your reasoning. Then you do it with Scooby-Doo Holiday Haunt, which honestly I forgot they did it with. I totally forgot about that one. But now they've done it again with this movie, which is like we've heard from some of these insiders who claim to have seen it, is a great movie. And and I also heard from someone, I can't verify if this is true or not. I just heard from someone on Twitter that they heard that David Zaslav didn't even watch this movie like before canceling it. He hasn't even seen it, which that's just a rumor, so take that with a grain of salt. But here's the thing. It's happened 3 times now. Batgirl, Scooby-Doo, and this movie. That is now a trend. That is a trend that shows that Warner Brothers will do this again. This is not something that was a one-off. This is something that they are totally willing to do. So how do you think that will affect cast, film, crew, that want to work on a Warner Brothers movie? Do you think that's going to hurt Warner Brothers from getting his talent? Or also contracts, right? Like when you sign contracts to make these film, like, do you think there's going to be filmmakers who come to Warner Brothers now and they make sure it's in the contract, this gets released on either theaters or HBO Max, it's got to go somewhere before I sign on to make this film? What do you think this does going forward to the industry?
Yeah, I think because of this that just happened, it now feels like a hit or miss with new ideas, and with actors and filmmakers who are coming forward, who are either chosen or voluntarily going forward because they have all these creativities and thoughts and ideas to kind of put together. Like, what would be the trust level they will have with Warner Brothers for that creativity to be greenlit? So yeah, and the other piece about other entities just coming in to utilize Looney Tunes, it's gonna depend, and that's a huge depend. One good example I can think about is when Hulu premiered I guess like the sort of reboot of Animaniacs, and that was like 2-3 years ago, somewhere there. I didn't see it. I think I've only ever seen like the second episode. I didn't see the entire series. I believe there's like 2 seasons, maybe 3. I could be wrong. But since then, I haven't heard anything like whether good or bad. It's just there. And maybe Tiny Toons also got a reboot.
Oh, I remember Tiny Toons.
Yeah, exactly. And I grew up with those cartoons. So yeah, it's just like I said, it's going to be a huge. Well, it depends if everybody is in agreement, if the CEO is in agreement, if he's optimistic about how this is going to go. But if this continues, like, okay, they're just going to be stuck with the old school pieces, which, by the way, Amazon Prime also streams those, I think.
Yeah. So I guess it makes sense why they would be interested in buying this one. Spoiler King, some of our beloved channel members are in the chat right now. They're saying that none of these movies were greenlit by the new Warner Brothers Discovery. All of them were greenlit by the old Warner Brothers AT&T ownership. So I get why the Zazzy didn't want to bother with the old Warner Brothers stuff. Yet, like I said, as a fan perspective, and as someone who like champions filmmakers and cares way more about the people who make these movies than the ones who greenlight and sit in the offices and executives and decide what they do with them ultimately, this sucks for them, and I totally acknowledge that. But at the same time, Spoiler Kings, I get it too. Like, this is essentially Warner Brothers movie. This is David Zaslav's movie. He can do whatever he wants with it. This is what he's decided to do with it. I think it's stupid. I don't get it, but you're right. He's allowed to do whatever he wants with it. I just don't agree with his decision.
Yeah, yeah. I also feel the decision was just too like, all right, let me look at this. Looked at it, and then it's like, no,
Yeah. But I
that's
do
it.
think after this, especially this is the third time for Warner Brothers. I think there's got to be safeguards put into these contracts. I think because another thing that happened when you think back to the COVID period was with Black Widow. There was this whole thing with Black Widow that Scarlett Johansson
Mm-hmm.
had in her contract that she would get the box office back points, and they put it on
Mm-hmm.
day and date on Disney Plus, and she like sued them over that, and there was this whole big thing.
Yep.
Like, I think that this decision, especially since it's the third time, it's going to cause more of these contracts to be fine tuned and looked at a little bit deeper. But I mean, I think I know the answer to
100%.
this, Frank. Do we buy or sell this news? Because I'm selling it. I don't think that this is a good decision. I think that you're leaving money on the table, I think,
Yeah.
by canceling. All right, let's move on now. And Frank, I'm going to need your help with this one for sure because I don't know very much about Legend of Zelda. We were talking a little bit before the show started. I've never
uh,
touched this game. I know he's an elf. I know his name is Link, not Zelda. I learned that a couple of years ago. But we've
yeah.
got some exciting news, especially for Legend of Zelda fans, potentially. I'll get your thoughts on this. This comes to us from the Washington Post.
Mm.
Gaming giant Nintendo is making a live action movie based on its widely popular video game series, The Legend of Zelda. The film will be produced by Zelda creator. I'm not even going to attempt that name. I'm very sorry. And Avi Arad, a veteran of superhero cinema, whose resume includes the Oscar-winning Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, along with a lot of other duds, but they don't mention that here. This is Miyamoto. I have been working on the live-action film The Legend of Zelda for many years now with Avi Arad, who has produced many mega hit films. The Zelda creator wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, on Wednesday, local time in Japan. It'll take time until its completion, but I hope you look forward to seeing it, he added. Wes Ball, the director of the Maze Runner series and the upcoming Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, will direct the movie, Nintendo said in a new release. The Zelda film will be co-financed by Nintendo and Sony Pictures Entertainment. So what I will say about this is, like, after the success of Mario, we all knew that there was going to be more Nintendo films made. Like, we just knew that there, and I know a lot of people speculated the next one they're going to do is Legend of Zelda. Next to Mario, that is their biggest property. So a couple thoughts from me as someone who doesn't know anything about Legend of Zelda. Wes Ball is an interesting choice. I like his first two Maze Runner films well enough. I don't think they're amazing. The first one's pretty good, but the second one I thought was okay. I'm really looking forward to his Planet of the Apes film. That looked great. We talked about the trailer last week. It looks great. I'm really rooting for this guy that's going to come out awesome. So based on those works that I've seen from him, I think he could deliver a pretty fun movie with this. But that's really as far as my thoughts really go with this. So I'm going to throw it to you, Frank. You can educate me a little bit. Tell me a little bit about what Legend of Zelda is about, and let me know if you think that this works well for a live action setting.
All right, here I go. So, Legend of Zelda. Legend of Zelda is the reason why I love movies like Lord of the Rings. Um, why I enjoyed movies like Gladiator. Why I enjoyed movies like Braveheart. So you can kind of see like where I'm going with this as far as like theme goes. Um, like this is pure adventure, and you are, as the player, you're the protagonist, you're Link. And and Legend of Zelda, in the title, like Zelda as the princess itself, like, yeah, there was a time when it was known where, like, okay, this is like almost like Super Mario Brothers, where Princess Peach is like the damsel in distress, right? This is a little bit different because this is you yourself saving a kingdom. You're saving a kingdom from someone, a demon king who is after a very extremely powerful relic who grants wishes, that grants wishes, and yeah, and the rest you could like just make up different scenarios from that. So that's just like the the main core of like what the Legend of Zelda is all about. Um, and I played this game. I played this game ever since I was 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. So Ocarina of Time. That's one of the Zelda titles that came out in the N64. That was my first game. One playthrough of that over and over again, I fell in love with the franchise. Like, I played most of them up to today. I'm playing the current one, which is Tears of the Kingdom. Still playing it. I have not beat the game yet, so that's where I'm at. In regards to the live action, the choice of director, because I've seen, like you said, we talked about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes last week, and when I saw the trailer, like it was astonishing, like the visuals, and you can
Yeah.
kind of imagine like where this could go for a Legend of Zelda live action, like utilizing that same effect, those same effect, and that same visuals, uh, like your imagination goes goes pretty wild. And I'm all for that. The only thing I'm curious, and this is one of the things that a lot of fans took to the internet, is who will they cast as Link? Because here's one thing
Mm.
about it: Link is not a character that speaks. First off, so that
I've
is
heard
gonna
that.
be, yeah, it's gonna be extremely debatable. Like, should they? That's the question. Should they make this character speak?
Well, let's
Okay.
talk about that for a little bit. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah.
What are in your opinion, what are the pros and cons to having this character speak? And what are the pros and cons to having this character not speak throughout the entire, like, do you think that there's a way that they can make an entire film, potentially franchise, off of a character that we never hear speak? Can we do inner thoughts? Is that an option? Like what do you think are the pros and cons for both options?
Oof, man, how we need someone else to also speak with me for this, but yeah, because like I said, it's gonna be largely debatable. For me, um, I mean, for me, it would be interesting, like to at least give him a voice.
Right.
At least give him a voice, give him a specific personality that fits in with the majority of the links that were played in all the games. Um, and because another thing too, it's pretty hard to kind of like pinpoint specifically what his personality is. Like he can be, for the most part, he's very stoic, very driven, and it's up to the players to kind of decide, like, how would Link be displayed as? Is he displayed as arrogant? Is he displayed as like this wise person? um
Hmm.
or it could go on anyways, because when you play the game, a lot of it is a lot of in retrospect, a lot of the games is more puzzle driven, because each level you have to figure out like how to go through until you get to the level where the boss is waiting, and you have to fight the boss, destroy it, and that's how you're going to progress through the story of the games.
Does it
So
change any of the mythology or the lore or whatever of the games if you have him speak? Is there something that will be like changing the essence of the character if he speaks in the film, or do you think it's like a non-issue?
oh no, I don't think it wouldn't be an issue, because if one thing that they would write Link as a live action film character, they really, what they should do, and this is why I'm glad they're going to be working alongside Shigeru Miyamoto. They're working alongside with him to honor the main lore of the story. So that's, I mean, it's fair to say that that's one thing for many diehard fans to kind of like be on our toes on. If they follow that specific lore about Link, being this chosen one to save the kingdom, and and this character just carrying the weight of everything that's happening in the film. So.
So, do you like the decision of it being live action, or would you have preferred this to be animated like the Mario film? Because I think for me, the live action has me more intrigued than if it was animated,
Hmm.
just because it feels like Legend of Zelda, correct me if I'm wrong, could be like the next Lord of the Rings, or at least that type of movie that we've been missing in theaters for a long time. And I feel like if you make this live action, you give it the budget, you give it the resources it needs, it could be a really epic fantasy film, one that we have not seen in the theaters for quite some time. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm well, I guess I would say I'm a little bit of the opposite. I was looking forward for this to be animated. And
Okay.
I anticipated that this would be something that Illumination would still have their hands on,
Mm.
because the Super Mario Brothers movie was, it was successful. Like, come on. And and because of that, a lot of Nintendo fans and general fans also who enjoy the movie would expect these other titles, Legend of Zelda being one of them, to also continue that same trajectory.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that point. I can definitely see that point. So let's go back to something that you were saying before, and I'm gonna put you on the spot for a minute. Do you have a fan casting? Who do you think should play Link?
I will say
And
that
why is it Tom Holland?
I was gonna say it cannot be Tom Holland. I'm very sorry. I am very sorry for folks out there thinking and hoping that it would have been Tom. But as much as I love the dude, I don't think I would keep him like a few feet away from this character. So sorry. Yeah, I don't. Who would be Link? Oh,
Can I give you a weird one? I think it's a weird one, but just by looking at his
hmm,
like again, never played the games, don't know Link, but just by looking
yeah.
at the image that I have in the corner here of Link, can I give you a weird one?
Go ahead.
Dane DeHaan.
Dan Dehan from.
Harry Osborn in the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay, 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 okay. Huh. Okay,
Is
that's
that not that's a little off?
it's
I'm
it's,
just
it's
look
gonna take it's gonna take time for me to chew on that a little bit and,
yeah,
and kind of
just
savor
don't
it.
make him speak, it's fine.
Yeah.
Um
Oh gosh, I know, right? Yeah, I'm
I don't know
thinking.
anything about the princess is Zelda, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know anything about the princess, but the instant thought of in my mind of who should play Zelda is Anya Taylor-Joy. I just feel like she has a princess look.
Yeah. Yeah. I would be there with you too as far as Anna Taylor Joy. The only thing is like, will it still work regardless? Actually, I think it may still work. Yeah, regardless if she voiced Princess Peach in Super Mario Brothers. Either
I
way.
forgot she was Princess Peach. That's
Yeah.
right. Well, there you go. She's already in like the studio's pocket. They already have her.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, that's two Nintendo characters, and both are princesses. So there we go.
There you
Oh
go.
my
Well,
gosh.
guys, what do you think of this news? Are you guys excited for Legend of Zelda? Do you think it should be live action? Do you think it should be animated? Let us know in the comments. Who should play Link? Who should play Zelda? Why is it Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg? Let us know all those thoughts down below. But for you, Frank, and for me, do we buy or sell this idea of a Legend of Zelda live action movie? I don't even know anything about the game, so I'm gonna buy it though. I
Yeah.
think it could be pretty awesome.
For now, I'm gonna be there in the same boat. I'm gonna buy it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, Inside Out 2 was a movie that was announced. I don't feel like it was announced that long ago, to be honest with you. I remember Bob Iger came out and said we're doing sequels to Inside Out and Zootopia and Toy Story and all this stuff. And we've already got a trailer out for Inside
I
Out 2,
know.
which I'm not going to lie, kind of surprised me when I woke up the other morning and was like, what? They've got enough done that they've already got a trailer out for this thing? So, first of all, I cannot believe Inside Out was like 8 years ago because I feel like I saw that movie like 2 years ago. Like it's crazy that it's been that long since the first one, but I really like the first Inside Out. Let me get your thoughts, Frank, real quick. What are your thoughts on the first Inside Out that came out 8 years ago?
I really loved it. I honestly did, and I think I've only watched it that one time when it first came out. Really, but I love what they did with just illustrating and creating like the story of how it all works in terms of like a child and their development and just giving feelings.
Yes.
it's just so funny saying it that way. Um, but yeah, I think I could be wrong, but it could have been before or no before or a little bit after the pandemic. They did announce Inside Out 2, and I feel like the majority of everybody just forgot that Disney Pixar was gonna launch this. And up until the trailer was dropped, I go, oh yeah, I remember. Uh, but but the teaser, I mean, I enjoyed the teaser, and I'm pretty excited to kind of see where this goes. I'm excited. I forgot the little girl's name, but I'm
Riley,
excited.
yeah.
Riley, there we go. I'm excited to see her again, her parents, and I think that's how the first one kind of left off. The first one left off with her just growing up and hormones kicking in, and that's going to open up an entirely new story of all these new feelings that these feelings have to encounter.
Yeah, no, for sure. The teaser was short and sweet. It wasn't very
Hmm.
long, which I wasn't expecting it to be too long. But in the teaser, you see that Riley's turning 13 years old, and I like all the work crew comes in and like demolishes their station,
Yeah,
which I thought was a fun little bit. Like, oh, we've hit puberty, everything's changing, so they have to change. Like, I thought that was a really fun visualization
yeah,
of hitting puberty in a family kids film where you don't want to do anything too inappropriate or whatever. But I
exactly.
love the work crew comes in, they completely rearrange everything, they change, they get rid of stuff, they gut the place out, and we get introduced to a brand new emotion played by Maya Hawke, anxiety, which
Oh,
the like
perfect.
as soon as you see her, um this movie looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. Like
Yeah, it is.
just the reaction to that character, just the look of that character, the way that Maya Hawke played her, even in just this little teaser. I love the little tease of her saying "we" and Discuss being
Mhm.
like, "Who's we?" Very curious to see how they're going to play that angle. Again, very very short and sweet teaser, but um, going into this movie, because when I saw the first Inside Out, I don't know about you, Frank. I'll ask you this: did you see a potential for a franchise with this when you first saw the first Inside Out?
Honestly, no. I just saw this
Mhm.
as like, okay, just a one-time kind of not experiment. I guess you could say experimental, creative quirk that Pixar just brilliantly made up, and it worked the majority, and that's just it. Okay, time to move to the next creative quirk for that Pixar is gonna lash out just create. So that's just it. I didn't really see this as like being a franchise or anything, or let alone a sequel coming out.
Yeah, no, I was on the same boat as you when I first saw the first Inside Out. I thought perfect standalone Pixar film. Don't really need anything else. It was perfect. But now that I've seen this teaser, and I'll ask you the same question. Now that I've seen this teaser and the introduction of anxiety and just like Riley getting older, I suddenly have this like change of like, oh, this could be a franchise that goes on for a little bit because as she gets older, you can introduce new emotions, new scenarios, new obstacles in life that bring on new emotions or affect the emotions in a different way that they've never been affected before. Like going from the first film to being like standalone, don't do anymore, to now this teaser alone makes me go, we could get five more out of these. Like we can go all the way until Riley's dead. And just like
Oh
all
man.
the different changes that she goes through in life. Like there's endless possibilities for this franchise
Right.
now. And how do you feel about that after watching this teaser, after seeing what the second one has in store? Do you think that there's way more stories they could tell after this one?
If that ends up happening, we're all gonna end up growing up with Riley. Like we're gonna
Yeah.
be retired, and like Riley's gonna be there with us. She's gonna be retired too by the time we're in our mid to late 60s. So it'd be interesting. It would be interesting. One of the things I wanted to just add uh, after seeing the trailer is just this curious thought of like, okay, is anxiety the only emotion that we're going to be introduced? Because as far as we know, how development goes, when when puberty starts to play a role in this, like
I know where you're
anxiety.
going.
Yeah, right.
I know where you're going.
Anxiety is gonna spill so much other well, not just anxiety, but those workers, and let's just assume that those workers are like the puberty molecules that's in the body, in the system, and it's like going all around in the brain, and cognitive thinking, and how that goes. Yeah, they're gonna introduce other emotions. So
Yeah, I think so too. What okay, what do you think, what comes to mind? What other emotions do you think could be there as she gets older? Because I'm sure at some point in her mid-20s depression will make an appearance.
Exactly. Exactly. Depression. I mean, gosh. What is there? Oh my gosh, it'd be so hilarious if one is like uh I don't know if it's obsession or compulsion, but something similar that kind of gives the impression
Compulsion.
of like, okay, OCD, you know?
Can you
But
do something in a Pixar movie like this? Can you do something that like represents sexuality? Like can you do a character like hormone or horny or something like that?
oh man,
I mean,
this
do you
is
think they
this
can
is
get away with
something.
something like that?
Oh man, this is something that I wish I was a fly on the wall during in the writers' room with them when they wrote that
How are they
and
gonna
they asked
tackle
the
that?
same question. Yeah, I don't know if arousal is like one of those emotions that was,
Arousal.
but that could be anything, you know, arouse for like what, so for food or for whatever, anything.
Absolutely, man. Well,
Uh,
I mean, do you buy or sell this trailer, man? Because I honestly, I would have preferred a couple years ago not to have any continuation of Inside Out, but now that I've seen this trailer, I'm buying it. I'm into
yeah,
it. I'm
same
I'm ready
here,
to go. Yeah,
same here.
I'm going for it, man. Let's see here. Dark Movies is saying yes to Inside Out 2. He's very excited. Really excited about this movie. Grew up with the first one. Yeah, that's kind of
Nice.
crazy to think about. Like 8 years ago, because I believe Toby has said that he's 16. He was 8 years old. So
Mm, mhm.
that's kind of crazy to think about. You're right. Like kids would be growing up with Riley.
Absolutely.
In the same way that we kind of grew up with Andy from Toy Story.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
Dark Movie says this trailer got me hyped. I like the new emotions. Yeah, absolutely, man. I completely
Yeah.
agree.
You know what I would love for Disney to do, since they a few weeks ago when they dropped that 15-minute um that 15-minute short of, of celebrating Disney's 100th anniversary with like all the characters. I don't know if you've seen
Right.
that yet. Yeah, I would really love it if they do. I think it's going to be like what, the 20th or 30th anniversary of Pixar.
Oh, and do all the characters interacting
Yes.
like a big crossover with those characters? That would be cool.
Yes, it would be awesome. It
I
would
would
be.
totally be down for that. That would. You know what? I think you're onto something. I think they're gonna do that. I would not be surprised if in the next 10 years we see that.
Oh gosh, if that happens, like let's refer back to this video because I
Yep.
prophesied it.
Dude,
So,
you can get like Woody riding in Lightning McQueen and
oh
like
my
like
gosh,
come on,
yes.
that'd be awesome. Wally meeting
Mhm.
Buzz Lightyear. I mean, come on, let's do it.
Yeah, and in the very end, everybody comes together just to sing "You Got a Friend in Me" because that would
Oh my
kill
gosh,
me right there in
dude.
the heartstring. Yeah.
You nailed it. Like hire this man. Disney, Pixar, hire this man.
If anybody is listening, yeah, watching this, like you guys know what to do.
Yeah, you want to break like YouTube view records? Absolutely hire this man. That is brilliant. Inside Out 2 is not the only trailer that we got this week. We also got a trailer for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, the sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I don't know, man. I think like just like with all the news that comes out and keeping up with all of it, and as days go on, I just forget about stuff. I didn't realize that they were doing a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I let alone did not
Mhm.
realize that there was a trailer that was going to be coming out in the next couple days. So, before we get into this trailer specifically, let's talk a little bit of Ghostbusters Afterlife. Did you get to see Ghostbusters Afterlife?
I didn't. I'm gonna be the odd one out and
You
say
didn't.
that
All
no.
right. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'll say this about Ghostbusters Afterlife. Very hyped movie. It came out, I think, in 2021. I think it was very hyped up. People um loved it. I did not love it.
Mm,
And I'm not like the biggest Ghostbusters fan. I really like the first movie. I think the first movie deserves to be like the classic where it is. I do
mm,
not like the sequel. I didn't bother seeing the Melissa McCarthy one when it came out. But Ghostbusters Afterlife I thought was cute. It was charming, but by the second half of the film, it kind of just repeated the first film to me. And
mhm.
that's kind of where it lessened for me. It got kind of repetitive and kind of rip offish of the first film.
Gotcha.
So that kind of lost me a little bit. So what I will say first off, going into this Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, the first thing that sticks out to me is that it feels completely fresh. This feels like a completely new story in the Ghostbusters lore. The whole thing about New York freezing over and the way that Dan Aykroyd was describing like how the people would feel as they froze to death and eventually just died was
Mhm.
kind of like chilling, not no pun intended. Uh in the trailer, and then you break the tension with the whole thing, like awesome that Paul Rudd or whatever says at the end there. I loved seeing Paul Rudd in the
Mm.
Ghostbusters outfit at the end there. I was kind of disappointed in Afterlife he never got to put on the Ghostbusters outfit, but
Mm.
he got to
Okay.
put it on there. And another big surprise in this trailer that, again, just all the news that comes out, just keeping up with it all week to week. Things get lost in your memory. I didn't know that Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and then were coming back for this one. Like they made they made a cameo. I would call it a cameo appearance in the first film. I didn't
Okay.
realize they were back, and it looks like from the trailer they might have like an actual like place in the
Mhm.
story of this one. So that was another big surprise. So I'll throw it to you, man.
Yeah.
What's your history with Ghostbusters? You haven't seen Afterlife, but you did see this trailer. And how did this trailer hit you?
So not only Afterlife, but I have not seen any of the Ghostbusters. That's
You've
why I
just
would
never
say,
seen Ghostbusters.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I just
crazy.
never seen Ghostbusters. It's my absolute, and anticipated on my watch list when I see it, because after seeing this trailer, that thought just struck me. Like, okay, Frank, like seriously, just watch Ghostbusters. Like it's time. I feel like it's time. um, but as I after watching the trailer, the one thought that crossed my mind was like, okay, Ghostbusters, sci-fi horror, because it's sci-fi horror, as far as the first one goes.
I kind of say like what would I call it? Like not horror comedy because it's not really
Okay,
horror. I guess it does have some scary moments. Yeah, I would yeah, horror comedy, but like
or okay,
very light horror.
gotcha. Yeah, so okay, so take that and horror comedy meet The Day After Tomorrow. Where you have like something
That's a
supernatural.
good comparison.
Exactly. So you have something supernatural, uh, becoming like this apocalyptic kind of event where the world freezes over, right? And honestly, for someone like me who considers like all these crazy ideas, like I'm on board, honestly. like let me see more of how this goes. I love Paul Rudd, honestly, and Bill Murray. If he's gonna as well as Bill Murray. Let me see where this is gonna go, because like I said, I haven't seen the original Ghostbusters, so now it's time to kind of get the gist and understand the story, and from there watch Afterlife. Um, by the time this comes out, like I'll be ready.
Perfect. So what you're saying is like this trailer got you more interested in watching Ghostbusters as a whole.
Right, right.
Perfect.
Aside from the idea of this apocalyptic event taking place, because like I feel like that's something like so uniquely original, if you think
Yeah,
about it. Hmm.
absolutely, man. And yeah, Ghostbusters is a franchise that you would think that they would have more installments out by now because it started in the
Mm.
80s. It's a really fun concept. It's a really fun group of characters. The original cast only did 2 movies, and then it was just like dormant in the movie theaters until 2016, which is crazy to think about. But
Hmm.
that one apparently didn't work as well for the audiences. But this
Yeah.
franchise seems to kind of found its footing again because Afterlife was a success. This one looks super fun. So I'll just ask you, man. Never seen Ghostbusters, but do you buy or sell this trailer? Because
I,
I'm gonna buy it.
I'll buy it. I'll buy it right there with
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
it was fun. It was cool, man. Who doesn't love talking about Deadpool?
Mm.
Especially the great news that the actors strike, they got it resolved. I mean,
Mm.
I think the actors themselves still need to vote on the deal itself. They've gotten a deal together, but the actors still need to vote in the union whether they want it or whether they don't. Apparently, in history, though, It's very, very, very unlikely that once the deal is settled that the actors will vote not to take the deal. So everyone's kind of assuming that the actors are just going to vote yes on the deal and that the actor strike is over. But even if they don't
Yeah.
vote yes on the deal, I think they have like a couple weeks to do so. Everything is back into motion now. Like the next day, everything was just go, go, go. And we got a couple announcements about some movies, especially Marvel movies.
Hmm.
Deadpool 3 has been confirmed that it will release next summer, which I'm super excited about. It's holding that release date. We're going to get it next year as long as everything
Hmm.
continues to go smoothly. But something surprising that happened is that it is now the only Marvel movie that we're going to get next year. This comes to us from Yahoo News. Says, as we told you Wednesday, Disney Marvel's Deadpool 3 is moving off of its summer launch date of May 3rd, 2024, leaving the season without a kickoff film for now. The Sean Levy directed pick, which is going back into production, will take over Captain America the Brave New World's release date of July 26th next year. But Captain America will not be kicking off the summer. He's moving to February 14th, 2025. We heard that Captain America was in better shape than Deadpool 3. Deadpool 3 is 50% complete, and that Brave New World would be kicking off the summer. But nope, that's not happening. To make room, Disney moved Marvel Studios' Blade from February 14th, 2025 to November 7th of that year. Marvel's The Thunderbolts, which didn't even start production due to the dual strikes, now goes from December 20th, 2024 to July 25th, 2025. So, as the Marvel Cinematic Universe works, because it's all connected and intertwined, one thing moves, everything moves. It's a shuffling
Exactly.
game. But yeah, we were supposed to get Captain America: Brave New World next year, in May, and the whole story now is that they're going back for like 6 months of reshoots or something like that, which is crazy. It shows that they got a. I mean, it makes me a little bit worried for the Captain America itself because that just shows that they have a lot that they need to fix and we tweak in the I almost said twerk and tweak in the movie. So that makes me a little nervous. But the fact that they have noticed that and they're going to these reshoots to acknowledge that they need to fix it and to get things fixed, that does make me a little bit, like, okay, they've acknowledged it. Maybe once it comes out, it won't matter. But what it does do is it now makes Deadpool 3 the only Marvel movie, the only MCU movie that we will be getting next year, which, like, besides the pandemic years, we have consistently had at least 3 Marvel movies every year. This is the first one in a while that will only have one Marvel movie for the year. And that could change. Maybe they'll move stuff. Stuff moves constantly. And we do have
Exactly.
shows. Echo will be out next year. It'll be out in January. I believe Agatha, whatever it's called now, the book of Covenants or
Darkhold
whatever.
Diaries.
Darkhold Diaries, thank you. They've changed that title so many times.
Like the
It's been like 3 different titles, but yeah, the Darkhold Diaries I believe is coming out next year as well. So we'll have some Disney Plus stuff, but this is
yeah.
the only one we're gonna have in the movie theaters. And honestly, as much as I love Marvel, and I'm still on board with the MCU. I know some people have fallen off. They said the quality has dipped. I do agree with that, but I don't think it's dipped to the quality of like it's terrible now. I've
Mhm.
still enjoyed almost all the movies that have come out. Even someone though like me who acknowledges that it kind of sucks that we're only gonna have one
I
MCU movie
know.
next year. I am stoked that it's Deadpool. And it's Deadpool 3, which is a movie that I think there are 2 things that come with this. Marvel needs a break. I think they I
Mhm.
think the audience needs a break from Marvel specifically. And if you're only going to give them one dish to feast on next year, Deadpool 3 looks like a delicious dish. And it looks like a dish that I don't think anyone's going to complain about. So you hear this news, Frank. What do you
Mhm.
think about there only being one MCU movie next year? Do you think it's good for the brand? Do you think it's good for the Marvel Studios? Do you think it's a detriment to them? And what do you think of it being Deadpool 3?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What I don't even know where to start, really. Because most of it is just positive. It's just incredible. I mean, we all love to have anything new, even if it's like a small speck of commercial that Deadpool can be the host of. And I know Ryan Reynolds does this like phone commercial that I always see on Twitter X when the ads goes up. I forgot the name of that
Oh,
brand.
what is it? Hotline or Hot Mobile. What is it called?
It's
Uh,
called something.
yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
Mint Mobile. It's
Mint
Mint
Mobile.
Mobile.
Yes, there we
That's what it
go.
is.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then there's Aviation Gin also, which I love, by the way.
Right.
Oh my god. Listen, if because whether it's Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, it's Deadpool. He's the one who runs the show and just brings light and laughter and entertainment just all together. I mean, people, and this is the biggest problem with just both fans and general audience altogether, like saying how, oh, phase 4, phase 5 after Endgame, things have just been, pretty crappy. But look, and they just say it just to easily forget, like, okay, No Way Home happened. Do you remember that?
Right.
Yeah, and what about the Cap 4 is coming up, and let alone Deadpool 3. Remember Deadpool and Deadpool 2, which also are being streamed on Disney Plus, by the
Yeah.
way. Yeah, and the fact that Deadpool 3 is going to be rated R also.
Yeah.
So, there is absolutely no reason for general audience to complain about how there are so many content out there that Marvel Studios is putting out, because yes, this is the whole point of just why we, and especially fans like myself, like you, who keep up to date with everything that has been put out there so far. um it's should feel okay with. I mean, yeah, it sucks. Like, we wish that there could be more movies out there, and hopefully, we don't know, there could be a surprise one that will show up in October or November, who knows. I mean, yeah, we
Yeah.
could also count the Sony Marvel. Venom 3 is coming up around the end of next year, as far as we know, and
Not a big fan of
so
the
on.
Venom movies, so I'm not gonna like be super excited
Okay.
about Venom 3, but we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see. So,
we'll
but
s-
yeah, no, I
we'll
mean,
see.
I think that also with Deadpool 3 being the only one, because I think the unfortunate reality is going to be this. At this moment right now, I have not seen the Marvels, but the Marvels is playing in theaters. You've seen the Marvels. Can
Yes.
you give us like briefly what you like first reaction to it?
Just pure fun, man. Just pure entertainment. The only thing that you could ask for in a movie, watching it, whether standard screening or IMAX, you know, that's just it. And with that, the dynamic between the characters, not to spoil much of it, obviously, because you haven't seen it yet. But and you've seen Miss Marvel. I've seen Miss Marvel, like
Yeah.
that dynamic and that energy. It's present, and it's one of the things that you would absolutely expect and enjoy and just love, and get to see more of Cara Danvers, obviously. So yeah.
Despite that fairly positive response, the sad reality is this movie's going to flop. This movie, especially for a
Yeah.
Marvel movie, it's not going to do well. I mean, it's tracking right now. The Thursday previews was $6 million, which is even behind the Flash's $9 million. They're projecting that it's going to have an opening weekend of $40 to $60 million, which is
Hmm.
the lowest. Well, I think Incredible Hulk is 55 million, so that's the lowest opening for an MCU movie. But it's one of the lowest openings for an MCU movie.
Hmm.
Um, so the sad reality is that until Deadpool 3 comes out, this is going to be the last Marvel movie that will be talked about, and it'll be talked about for a while. How Marvel fell off the cliff, how they're doing poorly. Look at how bad the Marvels did. No one cares about Marvel anymore. Like, you're going to get those conversations for the next couple months. But once Deadpool 3 hits, that will be when the conversation with Marvel really changes, because Deadpool 3 is going to be a certifiable hit. Not only because you've got Deadpool and Wolverine, Hugh Jackman coming back, but Deadpool 3 has also the advantage of being just seen by the general audience as not another MCU movie. It's a Deadpool movie. We had Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2. People love Deadpool. People love Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2 came out in like 2018. Like, it has
Yeah.
been a while since we had a Deadpool movie. So, yeah, the conversation around Marvel, I can already tell you, is going to be pretty pessimistic for the next couple months. And they're going to be kicking Marvel, saying Marvel is down. and I'm sure I'll fall into this a couple times as well. But
Mm-hmm.
with Deadpool 3 coming out next year and being the only thing out next year, it's going to give Marvel that chance to have that big boom. I think it's going to have the potential of being the first billion-dollar Marvel movie in quite some time, and
Mm-hmm.
it's going to get the conversation turned positive again. So I honestly, as much as I am a fan of Marvel and I want more Marvel, I also
Mm-hmm.
want the quality to go up. And by cooling it down, putting one movie out next year, and working on the rest, that gives the quality a chance to go up. And I think
Absolutely.
that's a win-win.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of the other things I was gonna say, and I'll make it quick because the batteries on my laptop is running low.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. It's with one movie coming out this year, viewers have no excuse of saying like, oh, there's so many content out there. Well, now you have time. Now you have time.
Yep.
The things that you've missed. And with the Marvels, looking that it's just not gonna do that well. It's not gonna do well at all in the box office. It wouldn't surprise me if it drops on Disney Plus, in a couple of weeks. So
Yeah,
mhm.
absolutely, man. But anyways, with that, do we buy or sell this idea of Deadpool 3 being the only Marvel movie in 2024? I'm gonna buy it, even though I would like to have seen Captain America. I would rather have a good Captain America film than rush it out. So
For
I
sure.
buy this.
Yeah, the second thumb is for everybody who also is thumbs up.
Everybody's thumbs up. That is the show. That was it. We did it. It's an
Yes.
hour. So thank you, Frank, so much for joining me, man. Thank you for being here. And please tell the people where they can find you.
All right, you guys can find me on YouTube as Optimistic Forever. Movie reviews, TV show reviews, I do them, and reactions also to trailers and out of the theater reactions to movies. You can also find me Optimistic Forever on Twitter X and Instagram as well.
Perfect, man. Excellent. I'm seeing the Marvels in an hour and 20 minutes, so I'm super excited. You can expect a review. It's probably already out because this will be out by Monday for the main channel. But yeah,
Awesome.
I want to thank everyone here for watching. Thank everybody here. And please comment down below all your thoughts on all these topics. Please let us know. Please check out Frank. His link is down in the description below. I want to thank Frankie Beastmaker, Dark Movies, Spoiler Kings, and Movie Time Minute for joining us in the chat for this episode. And we will talk to you guys again next week. Take care, guys.
Nice.